Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradha Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Vishwapad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Astottara Jata Shishrimati Divine Grace Laisi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Vishwapad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Astottara Jata Shishrimati Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maka, can you please put this in this? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Naruttamam Deving Sarasating Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayed Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. We are continuing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 6, Text 12. It's in prose, so I will just read the verse. Ayang avataro rajaso papluta kaivalyo pashikshanartaha. A word for word translation. Ayam avataraha. This incarnation, Lord Rishabdev. Rajasa, by the mode of passion. Upapluta, overwhelmed. Kaivalya upashikshana. Oh yeah, Kaivalya upashikshana artaha. To teach people the path of liberation. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila HG Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. In this age of Kali, people are overwhelmed by the modes of passion and ignorance. Lord Rishabdev incarnated himself to deliver them from the clutches of Maya. Purport. The symptoms of Kali Yuga are predicted in the 12th canto, 3rd chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Lavanyam Kesha Dharanam. It is predicted how fallen souls will behave. They will keep their hair long and consider themselves very beautiful, or they will pluck out their hair as the Jains do. They will keep themselves unclean and will not wash their mouths. Jains refer to Lord Rishabdev as their original preceptor. If such people are serious followers of Rishabdev, they must also take his instructions. In the 5th chapter of this canto, Rishabdev gave his 100 sons instructions whereby they could become free from the clutches of Maya. If one actually follows Rishabdev, he will certainly be delivered from the clutches of Maya and return home back to Godhead. If one strictly follows the instructions of Rishabdev given in the 5th chapter, he will certainly be liberated. Lord Rishabdev incarnated specifically to deliver these fallen souls. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Ham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavangscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tvang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanitangsha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatta Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. In this age of Kali, people are overwhelmed by the modes of passion and ignorance. Lord Rishabdev incarnated himself to deliver them from the clutches of Maya. So, in this verse we hear how Rishabh, the true purpose of why Lord Rishabdev appeared in this world, it's to deliver the fallen people from Maya. So that's always the mission of the Lord when He comes. He doesn't come to this material world to enjoy the material world like we do, but He comes to deliver the fallen souls. The conditioned living entities, they come here to exploit the material nature. Apareyam itastvanyam prakriting vidime param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam daryate jagat. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that the living entities in this world, they come to exploit all the material elements. We come here to enjoy, and we try to get some happiness by enjoying the sense objects. But Rishabdev and all the other incarnations, they don't come for that purpose. They come not to enjoy, but to serve the fallen souls, to help. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkritam dharma sangstapanartaye sambhavami yuge yuge. So Krishna comes for that purpose. And Srila Prabhupada, specifically it's mentioned in the verse, Raja so papluta. Upapluta. Prabhupada, he translates as overwhelmed. This is a word which is also coming in the pranam mantra of our Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Charu Swami. I'm going to just say it to you. Snigdha cheta supraneta vagminam cha rasaplutam. Uplam. And in that context, it is said that Srila Bhakti Charu Maharaj, he is always overwhelmed by Bhakti Rasa. Upapluta, as far as I know, can also mean, like, overwhelmed is one way how you can interpret this word, and it can also mean that you are submerged, like you submerge yourself in water when you go to the ocean. You're fully covered by water, so that's also the meaning of that word. So rasa pluta means to be fully submerged in rasa. And here it says Raja so papluta, being overwhelmed by the mode of passion. Hare Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada, he points out that this is actually the people in this age of Kali. Kali is the time we are living in now. You know, have you heard the word Kali?
Yeah.
Do you know the different 4 ages?
I don't know them all, but
Satya, Treta, Dwapar and Kali is the 4th. So we are in Kali Yuga, and Srila Prabhupada, he refers to a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam where the symptoms are of Kali Yuga, or people in Kali Yuga are described. I'm going to read this verse to you. And in this verse, in the 12th canto, the mentality of the Kali Yuga people is described. Dure varyayanam tirtam lavanyam keshadharanam udaram parata svarta satyatve dharshyam evahi dakshyam kutumba bharanam yashurite dharma sevanam. A sacred place will be taken to consist of no more than a reservoir of water located at a distance, and beauty will be thought to depend on one's hairstyle. Filling the belly will become the goal of life, and one who is audacious will be accepted as truthful. He who can maintain a family will be regarded as an expert man, and the principles of religion will be observed only for the sake of reputation. I'm just going to read from the purport. In this age, people tirelessly arrange their hair in different styles, trying to enhance their facial beauty and sexuality. I was just at home with my family, and my grandmother was also there. And she's old. I don't remember how this came up. At one point, she started to speak about her coiffeur. We say coiffeur in Switzerland. What is a coiffeur? Yeah, in French, huh? You also know this word, coiffeur? Coiffeur means hair cutter, barber. So we use that French word in Switzerland. She was saying how she's not happy with her coiffeur. And she's old, you know. She's grey. It's white hair, actually, not grey. White hair, and almost not so much hair left. And then the topic came up. My sister was saying how she is going only to the coiffeur on a particular day when the moon is in the right place. Why? Because the moon will determine how your hair will grow. It's a science. If you cut your hair on a particular day, it will grow much more full. And if you cut it on another day, it will not grow at all. And then my father said, yeah, I made this experience. I went to the coiffeur on a particular day, and then my hair didn't grow. So the whole hair kata we had. Oh yeah, now I know how it came up. I was saying that I'm gonna come next week again to my home, and my grandmother was saying, but let us know if the television will come along, because the Swiss television, you know, some months back they did some documentary about me, about my life, and we went to the farm, and then she was saying jokingly but if you bring along the television, please let us know. So then I said, why? Because you have to go to make sure that your hair is nice before. Like that. Yeah, so much here it said, tirelessly arrange the hair in different styles, trying to enhance the facial beauty and sexuality. Of course, that's maybe a little bit far-fetched from an old woman, but we put so much emphasis on that, on our physical beauty and especially our hair. And especially nowadays, men, they're like women in that sense. How they arrange the hair sometimes, and even I used to be like that before I became one who tries to be a devotee. You know, spending money to have a nice haircut and using all kinds of products to look handsome. But according to Srimad Bhagavatam, this is a symptom of Raja Guna, being in the mode of passion, trying to enjoy on the physical platform. And of course we can say for women it's more natural, but even the Vedic culture, women, they will never show the hair so much in public. They will always have the hair in a knot, and often also they cover their hair. And of course, for the pleasure of their husband, they will show their hair and give him pleasure. That's the Vedic culture. No, the wife is meant to give pleasure to the husband, but not in public, not to get some cheap attention. And nowadays, women, not only they try to have beautiful hairstyle, but they show all kinds of bodily, physical beauty, showing their breasts and etc. to get this attraction. And this is all symptoms of passion, Raja Guna. And that's specifically mentioned here, that Rishabh Devi came to deliver people from that mode of passion. And I thought we can do one thing as an educational lesson today. We can read the prayer which Srila Prabhupada wrote on the Jaladuta, which very much also touches this point of delivering people who are in the mode of passion. So I'm just going, if you like, you can also open it on your phone. This prayer is called Markine Bhagavata Dharma. You have heard of this, Sergei?
No.
It's a very nice prayer. When Srila Prabhupada, he came with the Jaladuta and he arrived in Boston in 1965. He composed this prayer on that day. And we will read it and maybe we can try to explain a little bit. So the first verse, My dear Lord Krishna, you are so kind upon this useless soul, but I do not know why you have brought me here. Now you can do whatever you like with me. But I guess you have some business here, otherwise why would you bring me to this terrible place? And here the point is touched. Most of the population here is covered by the material modes of ignorance and passion. Absorbed in material life, they think themselves very happy and satisfied, and therefore they have no taste for the transcendental message of Vasudeva. I do not know how they will be able to understand it. Srila Prabhupada, when he was on the board of the Jaladuta. He left from Kolkata and he was traveling on the boat. First he came to Sri Lanka. You know that? Prabhupada came by boat to Sri Lanka, your home?
I didn't know.
Yeah. And he even went out on the boat. You know that Prabhupada went with the boat from India to America?
Yeah.
Yes, so this journey took around 7 days and after Calcutta the first stop was Colombo. And he went out in Colombo. He actually had a small city tour. And after Colombo they went to Cochin in South India, Kerala. And after that it was a long patch through the Arabic Ocean, Arabic Sea, and then they came to what is called the Suez Canal. You know, there is a small canal between Africa and you can say Asia, small water canal where all the boats still today go through. And then he came through the European, how you call that, sea. Anyway, he passed Italy and then went through Gibraltar and then to America. So he saw a few cities on the way, like Colombo, which was, of course, almost, he said it's like India. Cochin was India. But he saw some cities on the way in Gibraltar and in Africa, Egypt. But can you imagine when you first go to the US and you see in Boston they had this skyline? And the pure devotee, he has a transcendental vision, or he has his knowledge, he can see always through the Vedic scriptures, he can see everything based on knowledge. So immediately Srila Prabhupada understood this is a symptom of Rajagun and Tamagun. Know how they live, why you have to build these kind of buildings. Because you are in passion, you need to do something very extraordinarily great. And so Prabhupada, he says in this prayer that most of the population here is covered by the material modes of ignorance and passion. And they are absorbed in material life, and therefore they think they are very happy. It's not that people were standing at the seashore waiting for Srila Prabhupada to arrive because we are so unhappy, finally some saint is coming and telling us what is true life. No, they were happy, or they thought they are happy. And even we think we are happy in this world. And because they are so absorbed in material life, they are absorbed in sense gratification, they don't have any taste for listening to the class of Srimad Bhagavatam. They don't have any taste to hear about Krishna. And therefore he said, I do not know how they will be able. How? He was questioning himself, what am I doing here? It's impossible. I came to a place where nobody wants to hear about Krishna. Actually they are happy in their material life. So why have you brought me here, Krishna? What's the purpose of me coming? And Srila Prabhupada continues, but I know your causeless mercy can make everything possible because you are the most expert mystic. Krishna is a mystic. He can lift Govardhan Hill with his small finger. He can build a bridge with stones floating on the sea from India to Lanka. These are all mystical feats. And so Prabhupada, even though initially that feeling of helplessness comes, the pure devotee immediately turns to Krishna and knows he's always here to support me, and because he can do anything, therefore there is always hope. he continues, how will they understand the mellows of devotional service? O Lord, I am simply praying for your mercy so that I will be able to convince them about your message. Srila Prabhupada sees these people and he's mentioning how they look so happy. Of course, he can see they are not happy, but they look satisfied and happy in their pursuit of material life. And he's questioning how can they understand the happiness of bhakti? Because ultimately they need happiness and we want to give them the happiness of devotional service. But how can they understand? It's such a subtle thing. How can somebody who comes here for the first time, who doesn't know anything, understand why we are getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, sitting for 2 hours on the floor, chanting mantras? How is it possible for someone to understand this kind of happiness? He continues, all living entities have become under the control of the illusory energy by your will, and therefore, if you like, by your will, they can also be released from the clutches of illusion. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada, he gains hope in that fact, that even though now they are in illusion, they are in Maya, but this is the energy of Krishna. It's not someone else's arrangement, it's his arrangement, and he is responsible. Actually, we are responsible, but he's the one who makes it happen. He puts us in illusion by the potency of Maya, but he can also, therefore, free a living entity from the illusory potency. And he continues, I wish that you may deliver them. Therefore, if you so desire their deliverance, then only will they be able to understand your message. He is fully depending on Krishna, that only if he wants them to be delivered, then there is any chance for them to understand. And then he quotes from Srimad Bhagavatam, Shrinvatam swakata Krishna punya shavana kirtana ridyantastoya bhadrani vidunoti suritsatam nashta prayashu bhatreshu nityang bhagavata sevaya bhagavati utamashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki tadarajastamo bhava kamalobhadayaschaye chetayetar anavidham stitam sate prasidati Evang prasana manaso bhagavat bhakti yogata bhagavat tatta vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate vidyate hridaye grantis chidyante sarva sangshayaha kshyante jasya karmani drishta evatmanishvare. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. These verses come in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the first canto, and they, very scientifically, Sutta Goswami, he explains how the living entities in this world can attain the supreme perfection. In Srimad Bhagavatam it's mentioned in the beginning how at the beginning of Kali Yuga there was some sages who assembled in a holy place called Naimisharanya. And they, in a similar way like the Lord himself, who is concerned about the fallen souls and comes into this world, the sages also, they were concerned how the people in this age of Kali, who are so tightly captured by rajas and tamas, how they can be delivered. And Sutta Goswami, who was present in that meeting, he then speaks these verses. And here he says that Krishna is situated in everyone's heart as the super soul. So he's present with each and every living entity. Even the living entities living in Boston and New York, which Srila Prabhupada saw in the depth of the mode of passion. Even there, Krishna is living as the super soul. And because Krishna is in the heart as the super soul, and why is he there? Because he is actually the one who is the well-wisher of the living entities. He wants them to be happy. And therefore it's described, he follows the living entities even in this horrible place in the material world. And here it is said, he, by seeing that the living entity wants to serve the Lord, he starts to remove the impurities in the heart. Specifically those who have some tendency to hear about him, then Krishna in the heart, he will remove the anarthas, the dirt. Then it said, by regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. As soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of nature's modes of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness and he becomes completely happy. Thus established in the mode of unalloyed goodness, the man whose mind has been enlivened by contact with devotional service to the Lord gains positive scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. Thus, the knot in the heart is pierced and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions is terminated when one sees the self as master. I'm reading from Markine Bhagavata Dharma, Srila Prabhupada's prayer. Srila Prabhupada immediately in this poem, he remembers these verses in Srimad Bhagavatam spoken by Sutta Goswami, which give a very scientific understanding how a conditioned living entity can come to the stage of perfection by coming in contact with devotional service, and especially by hearing about Krishna. Then Prabhupada, he continues, how will I make them understand this message of Krishna consciousness? I am very unfortunate, unqualified, and the most fallen. Therefore I am seeking your benediction, so that I can convince them, for I am powerless to do so on my own. This prayer, I think you can also feel how he is so much dependent on Krishna. He doesn't feel that he is qualified to help the living entities, but he is fully dependent on Krishna. He is asking Krishna that he may empower him, so that he can convince the living entities. Somehow or other, Lord, you have brought me here to speak about you. Now, my Lord, it is up to you to make me a success or failure as you like. O spiritual master of all the worlds, I can simply repeat your message, so if you like, you can make my power of speaking suitable for their understanding. Only by your causeless mercy will my words become pure. I am sure that when this transcendental message penetrates their hearts, they will certainly feel engladdened and thus become liberated from all unhappy conditions of life. O Lord, I am just like a puppet in your hands, so if you have brought me here to dance, then make me dance, make me dance. O Lord, make me dance as you like. I have no devotion, nor do I have any knowledge, but I have strong faith in the holy name of Krishna. I have been designated as Bhaktivedanta, and now, if you like, you can fulfill the real purport of Bhaktivedanta. End of this prayer. And then Prabhupada signs this poem, signed the most unfortunate, insignificant beggar, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, on board the ship Jaladuta, Commonwealth Pier, Boston, Massachusetts, USA, dated 18th of September 1965. So since in this verse we hear how Rishabdev, he came to deliver the people from the mode of Rajas, and Srila Prabhupada touches on this point of how people are really so much absorbed in these lower modes of material nature in Kali Yuga. Sometimes we feel hopeless, no? When we go on book distribution, we go on Harinam, or even sometimes it can happen on the Sunday program. You just feel, how is it possible that I can help Srila Prabhupada in his effort to spread Krishna consciousness, because people are so on the material platform, they're so absorbed in material life. How is it possible to help? And this prayer shows the proper mood, that actually we cannot do anything. We are not able to do anything. We are just able to be an instrument, and that's what Srila Prabhupada prayed for, that he can be an instrument, and he says that please, when I say something, let my words be pure. Let my words be so pure that they can actually touch the hearts of the people. So that's the mood of Srila Prabhupada in spreading Krishna consciousness, and we can see how successful he was. He met young people who were living so absorbed again on the bodily platform. They were taking drugs, they had a lot of illicit sexual connections. Some of them, they were very unclean, just in the modes of tamas and rajas. But Srila Prabhupada, he managed to touch all these hearts and transform them into devotees. Just yesterday and the last few days I was listening to the memories of Srila Prabhupada by Mukunda Goswami. And Mukunda Goswami, he was one of the first disciples of Srila Prabhupada in New York. And it was very inspiring to see him speak. It's not so old, this interview, maybe 2-3 years old. And I was thinking how he was speaking about himself back in the days in New York. When he met Srila Prabhupada, he was a musician, and he got involved in some legal trouble because he sold, actually never really says if it really happened or not. He says it didn't happen the way they put it in the newspaper, but he was the government, he was in jail, and I think he had to go to the, no, not in jail, he had a court case because of selling drugs to a minor. And Srila Prabhupada, he heard about that and called him. And Mukunda Maharaj, he says how at that time all his friends stopped talking to him and meeting him. Just when this newspaper article came in the New York Times, and he was kind of some popular personality in New York, in Manhattan, and then this newspaper article came, Michael Grant, I don't know exactly the title, but sold drugs to a minor. And all kinds of things were said. He's describing that overnight his whole social circle crumbled. Nobody wanted to talk to him anymore. Everybody felt he's a criminal. And then it was Srila Prabhupada who called him one day. And he said, Michael, I heard you have some trouble. he saw the newspaper article. So selling drugs and all these things, that's tamas. But Srila Prabhupada, he was very merciful that he would always see the good and try to uplift the people. Another memory, he says, which shows the humility of Srila Prabhupada, that in 26th Avenue, one person came to Srila Prabhupada, kind of a young hippie person, and he walked into Srila Prabhupada's room and they spoke, and then he told Prabhupada what he does. And he mentioned he had a bad conscience, he was feeling bad. He was telling Prabhupada that actually I'm also selling drugs. That's one of my means of livelihood. And Srila Mukunda Maharaj, he says, Prabhupada's answer was, oh, I was also selling drugs back in India. And Mukunda Maharaj said he was shocked when he heard that. Prabhupada sold drugs? And then, of course, Prabhupada elaborated a bit that he was having a drugstore, a pharmacy. So he was selling illegal drugs, and that person was selling illegal drugs. And Mukunda, one thing that I also remember when reading this poem, Srila Mukunda Maharaj, he says that Prabhupada would always have a book in front of him while giving classes. And he said it was a big book, and it was a kind of a mystical book. They didn't really know in the beginning. And he said Srila Prabhupada would speak, but all here and then he would just refer to the book, read something, and then continue with his lecture. And that shows to me that mood of Srila Prabhupada, that he never really felt that he has something special to offer, or he's a special personality, but he always was so dependent on the holy books, and he would, Srila Prabhupada, but he would always keep that book, and it reminds also, I think, Govinda Maharaj, he would also always keep some notebook with verses, and even Chaitanya Chandra Prabhu, he would keep some notebook. Even though they might know by heart, but they show us the example how we always have to refer to the holy books. So thank you for your attention. In this way we can take hope that we can also become an instrument in delivering as we have been delivered from our fallen condition. To some extent we have become purified, we have accepted Krishna consciousness. So in the same way, if we just follow that process of speaking what is said by the holy scriptures and by the holy persons, Srila Prabhupada, then we can also help to deliver these fallen people. Even though it looks hopeless sometimes, but if we stick to that process, the impossible can become possible. And we should always remember that it's not us who will do a miracle. It's always Krishna in the heart. He is in the heart of us and in the heart of everyone else. And we should preach in that mood, like Srila Prabhupada. He remembers that. Krishna is in the heart, so I don't have to make some show. I don't have to make a show to impress someone to take up Krishna consciousness. I can just remain faithfully pure and stick purely to the teachings, and in this way people's heart can be changed. And Srila Prabhupada also showed that it didn't matter who he met. Even if the Beatles walked into his room, he would, if you listen to tapes, he was so unassuming. Just so purely he gave the teachings, and he would never change anything. Hare Krishna, you would like to, I don't know if you heard the verse, if you like to add something. Or anyone has any question? Yes?
Not a question, but a comment.
Yes.
Just we were speaking about this, how the symptoms of Kali Yuga, and also men keeping long hair and beard, like, all this. So I was just reading yesterday about this. Srila Prabhupada says that he was making a joke with his disciples, and he also mentioned that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also had long hair. So Prabhupada jokingly says that he came to save you and shave you. And now I was also thinking that these long hair, also how it is described when you read about Lord Krishna, that he also has long black curly hair. So I'm just thinking that everything is just a reflection of spiritual world, everything, And and even me and Anandi Mataji yesterday in the evening, we were sitting and discussing this whole Krishna Katha. It was so amazing that one of the chapters in Krishna book about Rukmini and Krishna talking to each other, the loving exchanges between him and his wives, and we see the same reflection in this world also, between men and women. And also I was reading this Madhya Leela, this Buddhism, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he wanted to do this chapter, when he wanted to do this South India tour, he wanted to go around and preach, and he was discussing with his associates. Now I don't remember exactly which name. So let's say Govinda, for example, and he was glorifying the qualities of his associates, and he says that if I don't listen to Govinda, he becomes angry with me, and for 3 days he does not speak with me. And another one, let's say Ramana, right? Because I don't remember exactly names. And he says that if I don't listen to his instructions, then he always keeps the stick in his hand to discipline me. So out of fear, I have to listen to him. So I was just thinking that how even sometimes when we, in our own settings, in our own group, when we get upset with somebody, we kind of stop talking to that person for a while. So I was just seeing that everything is just a reflection of the spiritual world, and all these past, and even not talking to each other is coming from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is from Krishna. So yeah, it's just...
So everything is a reflection. That means Krishna keeps nice hair. We also keep nice hair.
But here I think it's more in a perverted way. There is pure.
Yeah, thank you for pointing it out. We shouldn't now think, oh, why is Mahaprabhu keeping such long hair? I have to shave. I mean, he shaved actually.
But that was the person, yeah. So once he shaved off.
Yeah, it's a perverted reflection here. It's fully blissful, and here it's fully miserable. And I think especially we brahmacharis, we notice how miserable our hair is when we shave. I I always feel this is such a ugly, and it's sad. It's actually stool. Somebody said no, it's like stool growing out. It's it's just an Abfallprodukt of the body, and if you have your head shaved and the hair, even the I guess Matajis when they comb and you have all the hair, it's so disgusting, no? But not with Krishna. The hair is so. The hair is pure. Even if you have his hair, one hair, it's worshipable. So that's the difference between us and Krishna. So even hearing about Krishna's hair will give you bliss. If you meditate about Krishna's hair, how it was curly, or if you look at his hair, it will give you some happiness. Yeah, everything is there in the pure sense. I'm sorry, I was a little strong about the hair. But haircut, yeah, yesterday and today again. Okay, thank you all. Thank you for sharing. Then have a nice day in Krishna consciousness. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Gaura Premanande Hari. He's not coming much. He can.
Because 3 days and he have full all months.
Okay, it's already.
And Nanda allowed his secretary saying maybe on March. In March. Yes. And now I will speak with you.
Maybe you can give me his contact.
Nanda no problem.
Yeah, you send me, then I will talk to him.
Yeah. For me it's more easy because he speaks English.
Yeah, please send me. I will talk to you.
Okay.
Sometimes it's good when we from the temple officially invite him.
I don't know if it's okay.
Gibt's noch für Prasad?
Wenn ich das?
Dafür Prasad?
Krishna? Yes. And something.
Okay, in your WhatsApp.
You send it?
Yes.